You can't market hearing care the same way that you can market other products and services. Several hearing clinics are working with marketing agencies or specialists who are not exactly the most informed when it comes to marketing hearing care. Most marketing mistakes often lead to poor outcomes and is not aligned with the experience of a person with hearing loss. This is often what stalls the clinic's growth. In this video, I'll discuss what exactly marketers are missing when it comes to advertising. Wait for the hearing aid activation jingle and we'll get started. If this is your first time coming to my channel, hello, my name is Era Abraham and I'm a person with lived experience of hearing loss. I also have a tech startup that utilizes AI to help individuals with hearing loss become aware of environmental sounds. And in all these years, I have been practicing the art of marketing to people with hearing loss. So for this video, I want to share with you some ways that I've observed how marketers are not really aligned when it comes to marketing hearing care. And the first thing is not realizing that hearing loss is a stigmatized industry. Both the product and experience of hearing loss is stigmatized. One of the things that we don't realize when it comes to marketing is that marketing a stigmatized product is very different from marketing a non-stigmatized product, like cosmetic product or maybe a product such as a sneakers or any other kind of consumer brand. I think marketers should think about hearing care as a stigmatized industry. And studies have shown the different ways and tactics that you can adopt to utilize and support destigmatization in an industry. And I think a lot of hearing care industry focus so much on the educational component of why you must have hearing aids, why you must need to adopt hearing loss. It's going to cause dementia, or all of these scary tactics are not the way to help move somebody along the decision making process. Three things that I've noticed in studies that have shown to demonstrate how you destigmatize and making people feel like they could address the problems and challenges with hearing loss. So the first thing is bringing in lived experience. There's a study that has been done when people who are experts or when it's somebody with a lived experience are doing the talking to educate and inform the consumer, it has a much better adoption. And that's because people want to be able to relate to the experiences of individuals who are further along their hearing care journey. And they can relate to the potential of what could be if they follow the same path. And that's why it's so critical when you have your marketing materials is think about where you're adopting the lived experience to help convert people. The other thing that they mentioned in the studies is to provide expert knowledge. Part of it, there's a lot of education that's involved. But the expert knowledge, when you can in fact bring studies that shows transformation that people want to achieve, then it actually helps adoption. And this is where audiologists are the most effective people to talk about expert information. And you can utilize blogs, your websites, webinars, anything that highlights your knowledge and expertise around hearing care would be really transformational in helping to destigmatize. And the third thing that shows ways to help destigmatize is positive association. So there have been a lot of studies that show when you use positive association to a destigmatized product like hearing loss, people start to look at things a lot more favorably. One study had used the concept of marijuana, which has a lot of negative connotation in our society today. By adopting marijuana into chocolate, they saw an increase into the product being utilized. And because chocolate is already it's something that people appreciate favorably, that positive association from a negative concept is one way to help address stigma. So when I think about hearing care, obviously I think there's a huge opportunity to associate with the trend among health and wellness. The health and wellness industry had boomed tremendously over the last couple of years. People are learning to take care of themselves, whether it is taking whether it's meditation, whether it's taking some time off to relax, and all of these had created opportunities for new businesses to be formed in the health and wellness space. Hearing care can be another component of the health and wellness space. And if you haven't really looked at your clinic as in that realm and industry, then I would suggest exploring it further because it could really differentiate you from other businesses, but also it can create a new avenue, new customers who may not have thought of their hearing loss as a symptom to some greater problem and issues around their health and wellness in their lives. So those are the three things that you need to think about when it comes to destigmatizing hearing loss. And marketers need to be intentional when it comes to marketing the hearing care. The other thing that I think is important that marketers often miss, and that is not understanding the full scope of the various personas that exist in the hearing care space. There's usually two common types of personas that I see. There's usually, when you look at it from a demographic perspective, is usually somebody who's older and or multi-diverse individual. The other thing that I've seen that typically happens in the marketing, and this is what from my observation of looking on websites, often you would see that people market to people who have not bought into the concept of buying hearing aids. And the website speaks to that individual, and you can tell that it's from somebody like myself who has hearing aids and been through this for many decades, that the frequently asked questions really focus on those individuals. But there's a whole other section of individuals that are lacking. Some people do it right. They might focus on a niche market like musicians, and I've seen a lot of clinics who are doing that. They have a high level of expertise based on academic advantages that enables them to be able to serve this market. There are other individuals that I don't see hearing clinics really targeting. Those are hearing loss that are associated with profession. For example, construction work is considered one of the professions that give you the highest chance of getting a hearing loss. And it's very rare for me to find a hearing clinic that is actually targeting construction workers to ensure that they have a continuous hearing health plan throughout their professional career in that field. The other thing that I've noticed, and this goes to the demographic of people similar to myself who are already adopted into the concept of hearing loss. We don't need to be convinced about buying hearing aids, but we already have hearing aids. And there is a subgroup among that can be associated with professions as well. And I was seeing a lot of nurses, particularly when they have a career that involves some kind of listening skills that is required. The nurses, they need stethoscopes, and a lot of them are on the internet and joining groups to be able to support their career. And sometimes it requires their audiologist to be able to adapt and adjust their hearing aids so that they can use these certain technologies in their field. This is another excellent opportunity for hearing clinics to be able to tap into this market, especially if you already know how to make adjustment to the hearing aids so that they can use the workplace devices. Another thing that we often don't see is the person's lifestyle. different lifestyle activities and habits and create other personas that might be valuable for you to target. And the third thing that we often don't see marketers do really well is understanding the buyer journey. Now we have to realize in buying a hearing aid is one of the highest, most priced item in one's life. And I heard some comments in on online that hearing aids can be the third most expensive item that somebody buys, next to a car and next to a house. And if you understand the process for buying a car and a house, it is very different than buying a pair of sneakers or $10 item. So it's really important that you understand what is the buyer journey. Now, here's an example. Similarly to cars, now I know car is not a stigmatized product, but car is a high price item. There are people who are sold on the idea of driving a car. Okay? So these people are very similar to what you would say, consider somebody who is already wearing a hearing aid. And they might be already familiar or comfortable with a specific brand. Because once you've already adopted, you tried probably a number of brands, there's certain brands that's going to stand out more favorably over the other. And people are going to start searching based on the hearing aid brand themselves. And so this is where it's really critical and important for you and or your marketing agency to understand that these buyers, their journey is going to be very different than somebody who is in the not convinced I need a hearing aid stage. They already are going to be searching on the hearing aid brand, and they're also going to start looking at price because that's exactly what people would do when they're buying a car. I know I want a Mazda, I want a Honda, or I want a Toyota. And I'm just going to start now looking for the Toyota with a specific model, or that is going to be the cheapest that I can buy. So you have to realize that people don't buy cars based on the dealership, the specific dealership. Perhaps they might if there's a relationship and there's some sense of loyalty. But beyond that, they start to price shop. And this is what's happening within the hearing care industry is that the hearing clinics are now experiencing that people are shopping based on price, especially after they started to utilize hearing aids. And here's where the marketing has to come in play to really ensure that people are not shopping by price, is looking for that value add opportunity. What is the need that my customers want that we can help them serve better, that makes price less relevant, and that this is a pretty darn good deal. The second thing that we have to also think about when it comes to marketing in the people who are new to the whole hearing care space, because there's a huge investment. This is not going to be a quick, I'm going to buy. This is going to be a slow process because now what you need to be focusing is on building trust. Trust is going to be the key ingredient that is going to get people to choose your clinic over somebody else. And the way that you build trust is through the content and marketing that you provide. So, how are you showing that you are trustworthy? How? By being transparent in terms of how you do business, by utilizing stories and experiences of other clients or patients that you have to help the prospective patient understand and see themselves in the stories of other people and seeing that transformation that you've been able to provide. You can start to see how it's really critical to understand the buyer journey and the behavior process and helping them make that decision. When you're utilizing ads, for example, they the quality of patient that you might get from an ad versus the the long process of marketing will make a huge difference in terms of your business. Not to say that people don't buy from an ad, but you certainly notice the difference in quality of a patients versus one coming from an ad, which has a lot of less of a trust versus one that comes from a relationship that you've developed over time to educate and to inform and help them to make that transformation. So, with that, I hope you found all of this information very helpful. If you like this video and you want to watch more, wait for the hearing aid low battery tone for more.